Welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff show. My name is Dan, and joining me on this Halloween, Marty. Yeah, exactly. And our special guest, Talia.
Oh, hi, thank you.
Thank you for finally joining us. You're out on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's early for you then. Yeah, your
Yeah,
evening's just getting started.
exactly.
Yeah, Marty, I don't think that's gonna work.
Mm. God damn it!
I think you're one too many whiskeys in. So Marty, just to clarify, you're a Kylo Ren hot dog.
No, I'm Kylo Ren dressed as a hot dog.
Kylo Ren dressed as a hot dog. Okay, not a hot dog dressed as Kylo Ren.
No, that'd be silly.
That would just be ridiculous. I'm Branch from Trolls. For everyone that follows us on Twitter and on Instagram, you probably saw me run this past weekend as Pickle Rick. Had my Pickle Rick costume on, and I ran in a 5K. So it was quite challenging to run as a pickle, as you can imagine. But I did it. I finished it. Finished the race. I was ranked 531st out of 1,500 people. So
There you go.
not bad.
You know,
Like almost top 30%. So
if
dressed
you're
as a pickle.
if you're a cucumber, you would have been probably forfeit.
I was about to say, yeah.
Oh shit! Got it under.
All right, there you go. So it is Halloween, and we are going to talk the latest horror film that is. We missed it. Like we missed talking about it. I guess that's the one of the biggest films of the year. And
We missed all the good ones. Yeah.
but instead, you got us talking about Jigsaw. I wanted to call it like Saw Legacy, but I think that was the last one, right? This is Jigsaw. It's the latest, I guess, latest. We'll get into it of what this actually is. It's the latest film in the Saw collection. Focuses in on. It's even hard to explain. It focuses in on people that did bad stuff, and they find themselves in these traps. Right? Is that the summary, the plot summary of every Saw film? And there's a
gets you
twist.
going.
And
Yeah.
there's a twist. Right? So that's what you got. You got people that have done something wrong, find themselves in these traps, and there's a twist. Synopsis of every single Saw movie. That said, I enjoy them. I'm a sucker for these movies. Talia disagrees. Talia, not a fan.
Look, the first one was good. I liked the first one. The second one was pretty good, but after that, I was like, it's the same thing.
Yes.
And I almost fell asleep on this one.
Really?
Because I'm like, okay, it's the same thing again. And I'm like, just end this franchise. I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm over it.
I don't think they are gonna end the. Marty did it. It did pretty well, right?
It opened at number one, but a pretty weak number one.
Mm.
I think it only made 16 million, which in a year where, like you said, it was the number one movie for a while, and there's been, I think original horror did very well this year, but we saw a lot of instances where prequels or sequel horror did not do as well, and generally any movie this year that was a prequel or sequel that wasn't attached to the Marvel universe didn't do too well.
So what would we consider Jigsaw? Is it a prequel, a sequel, or both?
I guess it's a sequel. It felt to me like a R-rated episode of CSI.
Yeah.
It had all
agree.
the tenets of that, down to how it started, like the music they used, the plot points. It was a funny way they framed it. I haven't seen a lot of these movies. I don't know how these always are like this, but it just felt like they were going beat for beat. They had the roles of the way too attractive coroners. You had the two detectives, the one new detective, the one old detective, and then you had the little mystery thrown at the end, and it all wraps up in an hour and a half. So basically, it's just an extended NCIS or Law and Order, SVU, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the one main positive you just said there, hour and a half. This was great. I was able to go out
Oh yeah.
at like 9:45 and be home, and it's like, oh, it's 11:30. I'm still good. It's still early. Yeah. You know, I am a fan of the Saw movies, and anyone who asks me, it's like, oh, well, what did you think of this one? It's the same thing I think of all of them. They're dumb.
Thank you.
They're dumb. There really is no point to making them. It is the same movie, but I still have so much fun with them, and it's not, I don't know why I have so much fun with them. It's not like there's anything inventive with the murders in this one that was anything different from the previous ones. It's like figuring out just clever new ways to kill people. We'll get that. Maybe we'll go through. We'll rank the deaths in this movie at some point, and see if any of them are actually any good. And again, like every one of them has the twist, and I think it was Legacy. Maybe it was the last one where the twist is Carrie Elways from the original ended up being in Legacy, and he ended up being one of the disciples of Jigsaw. So that was a big twist in that one. And so with this one, Marty was saying is you're following these two CSI type, investigators that there's some new murders going on, and you're following this murder house, this Saw, and then the way that it's cut, because it is a prequel as well, because a lot of these events happened as the first murders in Jigsaw's collection, right? And the way that it's framed is you don't realize, or I guess you do, I realized beforehand, but the audience isn't supposed to realize that the events that you're watching are actually happening 10 years prior, right? You're supposed to think it's happening now, and Jigsaw's actually alive. Spoiler, he's not alive. He's still dead. And then you're trying to figure out who's doing these murders on his behalf. And it winds down, and you get to the end, and you realize, okay, there's the bad cop is one of the last victims, and one of these CSI guys is one of the last victims. And it's fucking lasers,
freaking laser beams,
sharks with freaking laser beams around the guy's neck.
But that whole reveal and it all happened in the last 3 minutes. So there was not even oh shit moment. There was oh, and it's over. All right, I'll see you.
Mm-hmm. And
but by the time they revealed whatever happening was I don't know if I was too dumb to realize that's what it was, or I just wasn't caring enough to watch if something else was happening.
I didn't care. By the end of it, I didn't care. I stopped caring. I was like, oh.
Yes, Gorkle, they have those now. They do. It's true. So I mean, that was the big twist, right? You find out that it's the one main CSI guy who's been he replicated 3 of the original 5 of Jigsaw's original murders or whatever, and it was all a setup, if you will, to get this bad cop who was somehow involved with his wife being killed. And this guy was in the original set of. See, and they set it up in such a weird way. His assistant, his lab assistant, is apparently on the dark web, and she's obsessed with Jigsaw. And she's building all of his murder devices.
Because that's fun.
And she builds one. and so it seems like it's common knowledge of everything that Jigsaw's done. It's like everyone knows, oh, he never killed anyone that way. We've never saw any of the... these coroners are, these people weren't involved in any of the investigations, but they know every single way that someone has died by Jigsaw's hands, possibly because they've watched all the movies. Maybe that's how they know. But it gets to the point where you realize so Saw, the original Saw, and the events in Saw were not the first ones. And I guess we kind of knew that because there were events that were leading up to Saw. But there was actual his first murder house, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll find out another murder house that he had before that. Because you'd think once the police start investigating a dude, they'd say, oh, his wife used to own a farm. Let's go check that farm out. But no. It's bad police work. Just sloppy police work.
Just have 2 bodies rot there for forever. No.
again, I criticize it, but part of me is I left the movie and I was like, I don't know, that was fun. It was fun. It was predictable.
Yeah.
I can't say it was a bad time. And all of these Saw movies, when I sit down to watch them, I walk away and I'm like, okay, it was an hour and a half. It's not, it was cool. It was fun.
I think it's a guilty pleasure for you.
I think so. Not for you.
Yeah.
You just
No. I want a horror film to scare me, not make me fall asleep. Scare me.
There's
Give
no
me not-
yeah. There's no
No, there's no
scares in this.
scares.
There's no
There's some
scares.
gore. I winced a few times and looked away just because of the cuttings or whatnot, but
Mhm.
I was never scared or any on that level.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there weren't even any like jump scares or anything like that. It was just pretty much straight up gore, and that's kind of what these Saw movies are. They're there's nothing that's supposed to like jump out at you. But I mean, there's just even looking at the trailers, and there's like another Insidious movie coming out,
Oh,
and I see the trailers for that, and I'm like, I would rather watch a Saw movie than any of those Insidious. I don't consider that horror either. That type of jump scare or it was literally like this woman like reaching out for like, it's like I can't see what's in front of me, and then like it's like
Did you see the one for Helen Mirren?
yes.
I forgot that. It was just this crazy ghost house or something.
Mm-hmm. It's based off of supposedly a true story or something.
Yeah. Helen Mirren has reached her "I'll do whatever for a check" phase, which good for her.
Good for her. Hey.
She's out there doing Fast and Furious movies and this shit.
Hey, if Anthony Hopkins can do Transformers, then Helen Mirren can do Fast and the Furious. I'm serious. Like,
and just show up on
That's
set
his
as Anthony Hopkins.
that was his cocaine money.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
Helen Mirren needs cocaine money. I don't know.
those big time Coke parties with Helen Mirren and
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins. Actually, that sounds like a fun time.
I
That sounds like
would
the type of party I would probably want to hang out with. It's like
I would wear this hot dog suit and go to that party.
They might try to eat you.
Sure.
oh God.
So okay, we were talking about some of the gore and the murders in this movie. Marty, can you do do you remember all the murders? I do. Can you do a rundown of all the murders?
Our first one officially is the... Well, no. Okay, let's see. How are we going to count them? We count the fake ones that started it, or then we're going back to the 10 years earlier shit? I'll do that first. It's chronology through the movie.
Through the movie, yeah.
The first body we find had his head just completely sliced off. That didn't seem like a good time.
What were they calling him? What was his nickname?
Buckethead.
Buckethead.
Very warm people working at the coroner's office.
It's like our victim here, Buckethead.
Yeah, our Buckethead victim. Oh, sure. He had a family. Whatever. Second, we had the woman who had the toxin shot into her face.
Oh, the acid, like hydrochloric acid or something.
So she just bleeds. She bleeds out the ears and dies that way. Not a fun way.
Yeah.
I think then we shoot right to the guy,
Motorcycle guy, right?
motorcycle guy going through the cyclone thing. I guess They didn't even show that too well. That was really too CGI. And
what was that? What was it, like fire? Like it was like,
I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Because he just came out with no skin.
Yeah.
The other guy had his leg ripped off. That was pretty rough.
He had his leg ripped off first, and then
Then I think he just died of bleeding out, I guess.
He just died, right? Like, yeah.
Come to think of it, there weren't many good deaths in this movie.
Well, because then the girl has reverse shotgun blast to the face.
Yeah.
And I guess the quote-unquote best death, or the most gory one, was the last one, with the sharks with the laser beams.
That was gross, man. He's like his whole face just like
really nasty.
Flops open like a flower.
Like a banana, or a flower or something.
Yeah, so there was only four to six deaths that we didn't see the guy get his face chopped off.
Mm-mm.
The other guy we didn't see die either in the hospital. No, we just saw him get put into he got put into a casket. We don't know how he died.
One of the things that I really noticed about this movie too is that parts it looked really, really cheap. Like I know that they make these movies on the cheap, but there was times where the the opening sequence with the cars and the cop cars and stuff like that. I was like, man, this looks really
Yeah, that's what I
made
said.
for
It
TV,
kind of
like cheap.
That's why I felt like almost a sitcom at points. Not sitcom, but like a
Yeah.
CSI show or USA or something. And even like the music they would use, like dun dun dun, like oh Jesus Christ.
This reminds me ominous tones.
Yeah, they were using like BlackBerry. I don't know if they're trying to throw us off on the timeline because like they're using BlackBerries at some point, which is pretty funny. Yeah, there was no real sense of technology.
Well, that's kind of how they had to do it when they did that twist in Final Destination, right? They had to kind of make it technology neutral, if you will, when they did their prequel sequel in that. I mean, this truly was like a mix between a prequel and a sequel, and I'm guessing you didn't really care for that, Marty. It seems like, but you said by the end you're just like,
yeah, it was fine,
I
but it was
guess.
just like again, I haven't seen a lot of these. I'm not a huge fan. I'm kind of glad October's over. Not gonna lie.
Oh, so we get back to
Really?
comic book movies.
Get back to some comic movies, some few. I've seen the. I keep every time I go to the movies, I'm seeing that trailer for the Denzel movie. I'm interested in seeing that.
Which one?
What?
The where Denzel's a lawyer.
Mm.
Have you
Oh,
seen
that one is like from the 70s.
Yeah, Roman Israel, I believe his name.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer at least 4 times now. So that should be good.
You're done with horror month. You're just you hate.
Yeah.
You hate it.
I mean, and we didn't see that in a year where like horror kind of took over the box office. We didn't see any of the good ones.
Which one? That was It. And
We
what
didn't
else?
see it. We didn't see what was the first one? At the start of the year with the guy from Key and Peele.
Oh yeah, Get Out.
Get
Yeah.
Out. We didn't see that one.
We didn't review that one. Yeah,
That was good.
fair point.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like I said, this was I thought it'd be number one at the theaters. I didn't think it'd be number one with such a low amount though. I don't know. It rained on half the country this week. I don't know if that had an effect on it, but
Maybe.
and I guess Halloween people aren't going to the movies as much anymore.
Well, they really start the. Amanda has got a good question for us in the chat. I'll get to that in a second. They really, and the answer is probably no. Maybe.
Maybe because
What, are they going to do it in space?
Yeah.
the 2 women captive
They do. The two of the captives do talk about something other than a man.
probably, but they might be talking about
But they might be talking about Jigsaw. So technically, they were being trapped by a man. So I don't know. It's a close,
I don't think
it's a close one. It's a close one. They start the horror movies a lot earlier now. Like you'd think that they'd want it to release in October, but they're pushing them out in September. So the biggest movie, it came out first week of September. You know?
Oh yeah. Also this weekend you had Stranger Things come up.
Yes, I was binge watching that this weekend.
All right, good. So we'll talk some TV later. But
I only got 2 episodes in, so.
Oh damn! Oh God!
I'm only 2 in. Hey, I got kids. Come on, you should be giving me credit for seeing 2.
We got to talk about that sometime because I have theories about the ending.
Okay. All right. Well, when we all finish watching Stranger Things, Mario, you watch Stranger Things, right?
No, I did not. But the wife binged it this weekend.
So. Without you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I went to go see Jigsaw.
Well, there you go. Without your wife?
Yes.
She did not want to see it.
Like I'll stay home and watch Stranger Things. You can go do that. I'm like okay. Ooh, this helmet's heavy.
You can take off the helmet if you want to.
No.
You can be the hot dog. You can just be a hot
committed.
dog.
I'm committed to it, and it's also it'd be painful to take it off at this point.
This is why I did face painting. See? Real simple.
Real simple. What Marty doesn't want to tell you that we actually have him in a jigsaw device.
Oh,
He
God.
can't take this mask off.
I want to play a game.
Would you like to play a game, Marty?
Game. I want to play a game, Marty.
Marty, if you cannot answer these questions by the end of the episode, you'll be stuck as Kylo Ren forever. You've come to whine and cry.
Hey, he's gonna break the mask in the next movie, and then I'll take that.
Yeah.
But she took my lightsaber. Oh, Kylo Ren.
He's got issues. Let him
He
be.
does. Yeah. Just doesn't like it when she touches his lightsaber.
Anything else on this one? This is probably our quickest review or discussion of the movie.
Probably. I mean, there's.
I told you it's not.
Okay. No. What? Not talking about the movie, but okay, Talia. What kind of what do you recommend for horror films for this time of year? Like for October, what are your go-to kind of horror movies that you like?
I really like I'll go even further, like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The
Yep.
Exorcist is my favorite film, probably of all time. I would even go to the original Nosferatu back in 1922. That scared the shit out of me when I was a child. The original Night of the Living Dead, I mean, still, when that zombie gets Barbara at the beginning, I'm like, oh God, get to the car, go, go, go. Yeah, I mean, I'm more of like the classic, and I want a film, like if you're going to be a horror film, scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Give me nightmares. Like really terrify me. And lately I haven't seen it.
There haven't been like any lately that are just I haven't seen Get Out, but Get Out's more of a social kind of commentary than, I mean, it's a horror film. It's horror because it's life. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the original Alien go back and forth between my favorite horror films. And I know Alien kind of gets more lumped into sci-fi in many ways, but I think that's pure horror. Like, it's even just because it's in space, it doesn't make it less of a horror film. Love the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I think the original, and I have a soft spot in my heart for that film, series. I do like Freddy Krueger. I think they made him kind of silly. And that kind of, took his character down a notch. But I think that was part of Robert Englund just saying, it's like, I'm just sick of playing this. Like, you got to give me something else,
I need cocaine money.
Abe has joined us.
Yeah.
Ah.
He's saying you can't put Talia against Game 6.
The game's going to go for 5 hours, Abe.
Yeah, yes. You can tune in for our show for an hour, and based off of how this World Series is going, you'll miss like one inning of the game. So, yeah. Marty, you're not much into horror films, but do you have any favorites you like?
Attack of the Clones.
That's a horror film. That scares you. That scares you, Marty.
Yes, it does.
Gives you nightmares? It gives you nightmares? And
it has, yes. It actually has.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the thing too is, I mean, that goes to Lucas's affection for old sci-fi and old horror, right? Because that does sound like one of those 50s B movie, it's like Attack of the Clones. It really, has that feel to it. But I mean, if you're talking about Star Wars movies, doesn't have like one of the worst titles of misrepresentation.
Yeah, because there's
clones
no
don't
attack. The clones didn't come to the end. So
no, they just march.
Yeah, it's March of the Clones. It's March of Yoda's clone army.
Yeah, it was more of a love story.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think before we do Last Jedi, we should look back at that one and maybe like talk about how we could have fixed the prequels.
Okay.
That would be fun.
We'll do that. We will do that.
I want to join in.
Okay. All right. And talk some Star Wars. Yeah. So listen, I mean, if you're a fan of the Saw movie franchise, I think you'll like this. I do.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell you not to go see it.
Yeah. Don't expect anything new or inventive, especially the deaths were. There's nothing memorable here in regards to. Yeah. I think you think of some of the inventive earlier deaths that were in the first few Saw movies, and at the time those were shocking and like really almost cerebral, where you're looking at them and you're like, this is a smart way to kill someone. And now it's like, okay, now you're just attaching them to chains and pulling them through saw blades. And oh my God, let's just talk about some of the sillier parts. Is when the two characters are stuck in like the grain silo, and then just someone's throwing random knives at them. So stupid.
One guy got him
Yeah.
in the shoulder, didn't bleed somehow. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it gets a knife right there. Just, ow. You know.
So are they going to keep going with this new guy? I guess what was his name? I can't read too well with this. Matt Passmore.
They hardly ever really continue off with his disciples. Like they kind of
Yeah.
like. I would have liked to see Carrie Elway's back and just like that
Yeah.
would have been better for me just to keep that going until he gets caught or killed or whatever.
Because they left it open with the girl and the black detective. What was his name? Clay Bennett.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because I thought they were going to come back and catch him or do something, but they just left it. They just left him there.
yeah, yeah. They're going to keep making these. I don't see them stopping because they're made. What was the budget for this one, Marty? Do you know what the budget was? I can't say it was a big budget.
I think the biker's name is Mandela Van Peebles. I wonder if that's Mario's kid.
Maybe.
Might be.
Yeah. So
It couldn't have been more than 50 or 60 million.
yeah. I mean, it'll make it back, right? I mean, and then isn't that the main allure of doing horror films anyway? Is you can kind of do them on the cheap and make your money back. Yeah.
Not when you're building franchises, though.
But horror franchises are different, man.
Yeah.
Horror franchises,
Oh God! Budget was only 10 million.
10.
Really?
This is
It looked it.
already threefold. Already made its money back 3 times.
It looked it. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. The budgets on these, the first one. What about look at the first one? The budget on the first one was next to nothing, and that was a huge blockbuster though. I think that made like 100 and something million. Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a real surprise. I don't know. There's these Insidious ones. That's the other franchise. I guess that's going right now. No interest in seeing any of that.
Are they
stuff.
doing another? Are they doing
Wow.
another Paranormal Activity?
I think so, probably. Aren't those all
Really?
tied together too? Like Insidious
Yeah.
as like a spin-off.
The original Saw made worldwide 103 million off a 1.2 million dollar budget.
$1.2 million budget. Yeah. Was
So
that
that's
and that was James Wan too, right? He was the one
Yeah.
that did the original.
Some quick math, but I think it's 100 times.
100 times. It's pretty good.
Return.
And that's the thing that's why they can keep making these. Is
The one that did the worst was Saw 6. Even Saw 3D did alright.
Was Saw 3D after Saw 6? I mean,
It must be because there's Saw. It's oddly that there's a Saw 3 and then there's a Saw 3D.
Yeah.
Saw 3D is the one that had the guy from Linkin Park.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah.
He didn't
Not-
escape that trap, did he?
Yeah. No.
Too soon.
No.
Too soon.
I'm a fan of Linkin Park.
That's the one that cost them. I guess the 3D cost a lot. That was 20 million. They're almost all an hour and 30 minutes. I swear to God.
Amanda's asking.
I know.
Every one of them is an hour and 31 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's crazy.
I'll watch them all. Watch them all in a row. Amanda's asking, what horror franchise would we cross over with Saw? Is there one that works crossing over with Saw?
You said they already canceled that Universal Monster verse.
Oh, yeah, good.
Saw. There has to be another revenge level kind of like mastermind thing.
Jigsaw versus Predator.
Oh.
Jigsaw setting up these traps to catch a predator.
There you go. To catch a predator. That's
To catch a predator. Oh, that's fitting. That's fitting
Awesome way to catch a
for the
predator.
news you got coming up, I'm sure. Yeah.
When the child molester comes in, they just get hooked onto the cave. Kevin Spacey can steal.
Oh, jeez.
Are we going to talk about
We
that?
are.
please?
We're going to. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
So
on
I
Saw?
guess
Anything
we're
else
giving
on
it a
Saw?
go see it review,
I say
but
so,
not,
I say see it. Yeah.
if you like the other ones.
I feel like the other ones see it. If not, still,
It's not going to,
if it's on
see an
cable,
early
watch it.
show, it's not that
It's an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an hour and a half of your time.
It's a popcorn movie.
It is. And I had popcorn. I did. It's delicious. All right. Let's move on. Oh, lost our chat. There we go. It's back. Here we go. Marty, weekly stuff. What you got?
Well, I thought we'd do some TV talk this week, and leading the TV talk and also mixing in with our other depressing talk the last few weeks is the news that broke this weekend. I guess it was this weekend, maybe Friday, going into the weekend, where this actor, I only seen him in one or two things. I think it was, I saw him in Rent, Anthony Rapp.
He's in the new Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that ties into all the other times we talked about Star Trek for no reason.
Yeah.
He said that 30 years ago, so I mean, the fact that this is 1986 he's talking about, that at a party or something, when he was 14 years old, Kevin Spacey grabbed him and threw him on a bed. Nothing like went further than that, but it was just a weird situation, I suppose. And then Kevin Spacey kind of made it worse when he came out and, kind of said what we all already know, that he's, we all assumed he was gay, but he never really came out and said it. So when he came out and said it, he also kind of said it in a way that almost kind of looking for an excuse for why he acted that way over the years, because he was living a closeted life, so he had to be kind of creepy on the low. And like, everyone just kind of revolted on that response. And then I don't know if it was going to happen already or not, because they said Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, House of Cards, last couple of seasons haven't been that good anyway. So they announced that this was going to be the last season.
Well, they announced 6 was going to be the last season, but now they're just announcing that they're just going to stop 6.
Yesterday they said it was going to be the last season. Then today they came out and said they're halting production indefinitely. I don't know what they think is going to happen to change anything. So yeah, that was just the latest in a slew of. A couple of young child actors have come out lately and said that this kind of stuff is going on. I think James Van Der Beek said a couple of weeks ago that stuff like that would happen. Corey Feldman always says it, but no one really ever believes Corey Feldman. But I'm sure it's true.
Oh, yeah. It's totally true.
But Corey Feldman wants $10 million to make a film so that he can out the people who are molesters. Like, stop it, Corey.
Yeah. He's not helping. Corey's not helping. Yeah, this stuff with Spacey is, it's unfortunate on so many different levels. It's unfortunate because I'm generally like Kevin Spacey, and it's his reaction, his initial reaction. I was like, well, I don't really remember it. I was probably drunk. I apologize. It was very. We've seen that response from a couple of different people, like Faraci, and he pretty much said the same thing when he was outed, and that was kind of the first domino that fell. We think about Weinstein, but it really, Devin Faraci was the first kind of entertainment person where that kind of came out, and then the Harry Knowles stuff, and then so it's been like
it's been a solid month,
of this stuff coming up. The other unfortunate thing again is it's just this is how you come out. It's like, yeah, by the way, I'm gay. I'm going to use this opportunity to just let you know.
And this is like the worst things that people say about gay people, that they're just, they prey on the
pedophiles.
Yeah. So it's like it's just such an asshole. Like Zachary Quinto came out and blasted him. Dan Savage blasted him again. Like it's just like you use it as cover. It was just a creepy thing to do.
Look, Kevin needs to fire his publicist because he wrote that letter really. He should have denied it, and he should have said, it's not in my character to do this. I would never do this. I'm hurtful by these allegations. The crazy thing is, when I was living in London, Kevin Spacey was the artistic director of the Old Vic, and I saw him play Richard III, and I met him after the play, and he was really nice, and as an actor, I look up to him like, oh my God, he's so skilled, he's so talented, I would like him to be my acting coach. Now I'm just so disappointed. So disappointed. I'm like, what the fuck?
And even the initial I was drunk, I don't remember, it was 30 years ago. If you left it there with an apology, it would have been okay. I don't think they would have stopped filming. But the fact that you have set an entire community of gay people with that statement, it just compounded the issue where it didn't have to happen. Because like I said, everyone knew he was gay as it is. So to take this opportunity to finally admit it was just a horrible misstep.
Well, him saying that he was drunk and he didn't remember, that still leaves doubt and on both sides, because the best thing he could have done was deny it, saying, no, that didn't happen. You know, I would never do that, but he didn't. So it left like, okay, maybe he did do that. Maybe he did hit on this 14-year-old boy and took it a little bit too far. You don't know. And I'm thinking, well, if he did that, well, how many others? I mean, it's
well, because he'd also said that, part of the statement was, I'm probably, I've been drunk over the years and done some things I probably regret. So, I mean, I can't say I don't
tempering
feel the same way.
expectations too? Though, I mean, is that basically saying it's like, I'm sure other stuff is coming out, so I might as well just basically say,
if we just learned anything over the last couple of weeks, it's when there's one story, there's many.
Well,
so I assume he thought more
you don't
was
have
coming.
Mouse in your house, right? If there's mouse, there's mice. Like, you don't have one mouse, and I think that's the same thing with this. We're going to continue to see more stories about Weinstein come out. We're going to continue to see who's that guy, Roebuck, or the guy we were talking about last week. That guy. You're going to see more stories about, and then you're going to just everyone's gonna have a voice now where they're gonna feel that they can talk about this stuff because the A-listers are talking about it, and the B-listers and the C-listers like Corey Feldman, but everyone's talking about the stuff. So I think there's more people going to be opening to talk about it. And
his career is finished.
Yeah,
he's finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he got drunk and used some derogatory words towards black people and Jewish people. That's forgivable in Hollywood.
Well, Mel Gibson's career should be finished too. But he owns his own production company, right. So it's different. But
there is an interesting way, it seems like, how liberals versus conservatives are dealing with this. Not to make it too political, but we've seen the same thing happen in Fox News the last couple months, and they just get rid of the guy, keep moving.
Yeah.
And other things where, like, I'll bring up the Screen Junkies thing where their guy got caught doing similar things, Bill O'Reilly, and they basically have shut down their site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Fox just gets rid of the guy, and then O'Reilly still just comes on the air and does whatever he wants, basically.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Weinstein got rid of, got fired from every operation. We're talking about, Netflix was built on House of Cards, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that and Orange
Now
is the New Black. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But he's over. I'm surprised he's not suicidal. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
I don't know how much money he has, but I mean, it's like he can never. He has a movie coming out in December, the Getty movie.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the community that embraced him. He was always a star on the, he'd be at the Tonys, he'd be on Broadway doing, and he just kind of thumbed his eye at those people to excuse his behavior. And now, I mean, Robin Wright Penn's got to be pissed off.
And I read an article recently about this too. Is what do you do when stuff like this comes out and it impacts like works that you love? Like, I mean, Kevin Spacey in LA Confidential is just like one of the great performances. I think back to LA Confidential. It's like, oh man, Kevin Spacey's so great in that. And now it's just like, if I watch Seven, if I watch these movies, and Seven was on just last night. If you watch these movies now, it's just like, can I not enjoy? Am I not allowed to enjoy this stuff anymore? It creates this like weird gray area of if you're allowed to like art that you've loved. Because something has come out about one of the artists that's involved in it, it just goes to show you, just think the worst of everyone going into any situation. Just think that they're just terrible.
And Gorkel's going on a bit of a rant there, just to stop. But I'm not saying either one was good. I was just talking about the way the two sides react to it, whereas not comparing either action, just the way they react to it. Whereas Fox News just replaced the 8 o'clock guy and kept going.
Yeah, they replaced him with the bow tie guy.
Yeah, and they're still the number one, cable news network.
Yeah.
Whereas the Weinstein Company shut down.
Yeah, they're shut down completely.
Yeah. So that was my point. Not that either side is right or wrong.
Yeah, well, Gorko's gonna take out of what he's gonna take specific words that you say, and that's all he's gonna
That's
And
latch
then
on
twist
to.
them. Yeah, yeah.
That's all
that's
he's gonna do.
that's fun.
Yeah. Exactly, Kylo. Exactly.
That's my answer.
What else do you got for us?
Other TV stuff, like you said, I guess we can't get too deep into it. But if Talia wants to give us her quick little non-spoiler thoughts on Stranger Things.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. With Stranger Things, I have to say that it's shorter than the first season. I think it's 9 episodes, while the first season was like 11 or 10 episodes or something like that. But I have to say that it gives you more information, like especially about 11, and I was just hooked on it. And I have to say, it's not as good as the first season, but it's pretty good. I would say there's like one episode that really, really sucked, but I'll give it that episode. Other than that, I'll give the season 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I've heard some rumblings where people weren't as happy with this one, but it is a kind of a weird show. Like I said, I don't watch it, but the idea that you had to watch this thing over the weekend, or it was going to get ruined for you.
Yeah,
because there's so many of the shows on Netflix where you can just kind of watch at your own pace. But this one seemed to be all right. If you don't watch it all at once, someone's gonna spoil it for you.
I've tried to avoid it.
You tried to avoid
I tried to avoid the spoilers. Yeah.
Don't watch YouTube. That's all I say. Don't type Stranger Things 2 into YouTube.
Right.
I've been watching Mindhunters on Netflix. Have you guys seen that one?
I've heard about it.
It's pretty good. It's kind of it's a show that only can live on Netflix, it seems, because it's kind of a slow moving thing. And if I just watched it once on network television once, I'd probably forget to go watch it again. So like you have to really kind of watch 4 or 5 episodes in a row to really get going with it. But it's it's back in the 1960s, the FBI trying to realizing in the first time there were such things as serial killers, I suppose, and just trying to get into the mindset of those killers, and it's kind of interesting stuff. But like I said, it's the only thing. It's kind of a show that can only live on a Netflix because I don't think there's no star power to it for one, and it's just too heavy a topic, I think, for any other network to pick up.
Right. And besides Netflix, they'll just have anything, really.
Yeah, unless
unless it's Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't believe they're gonna just let go of that show. I mean, I don't know, but
well, they have to. I mean,
yeah,
you think
you can't go forward with that.
They just have so much money wrapped up in that, though.
Well, blame Kevin. He fucked up. I mean, he just really, and I wouldn't be surprised if he loses his agent because of this. His management, all the people around him, he'll probably just lose.
Yeah, it's again like something that happened 30 years ago, and no one knew.
I think they did.
Of course, and that's my problem with it all. It's like no one knew about Weinstein. Come on, everyone knew about Weinstein. I mean, why does Courtney Love, get shunned other than the fact that she possibly killed Kurt Cobain? But
yeah, that too.
But she spoke out about it, and then all the agents, everyone stopped calling her about doing work, right? So I mean, these things are known. They're known commodities out there. So I mean, to act surprised like no one knew about Kevin Spacey, people knew, and now it's just people are okay to come forward because. Just think of like how many women typically don't come forward about rape, because the fact is the system is kind of so skewed against the them, because they become the guilty ones, and then it's like, oh well, what were you wearing, why were you there at that time, and all. So the system kind of skews to the point where the woman's just like, I'm not gonna say anything, like I'm gonna come out bad from this, and this is the same situation that's going on right now in Hollywood. It's like so many people are like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut because they're gonna turn it against me, and I'm gonna be the one that's gonna look bad in all of this and yada yada. But now it's almost starting to make that turn where one or two brave people came out and spoke up, and then from there you start seeing those A-listers like Angelina Jolie's like, yep, happened to me, and you start seeing all these other people come forward and say, yeah, this happened to me too. So I think people will be able to be braver now and have these voices. So, this guy speaking up, I don't want to say that he was doing it for attention. I think he was just doing it because the time was right, and he felt that if I say it, people will believe me now, as opposed to calling me a liar if I said it, a few years ago, right?
It's not even anyone would have called him a liar, I don't think. I just don't think it would have gotten any play 2 years ago.
Sure, yeah.
It's just now
Maybe
it's everyone's...
he has evidence. That's
Yeah.
what I think. Maybe he has evidence.
I doubt it from 1980s.
30 years ago,
Yeah.
Maybe it's let me get my giant video camera recorder with the VHS tape. See, he has evidence, but it's a giant VHS tape or a Betamax tape, and then we have to find an adapter for people to actually be able to see it on Snapchat or whatever. I don't know. What are these kids watching things on nowadays?
It's crazy how fast now social media moves because, like I said, he said the thing, I want to say it's Saturday or Sunday, and then by Tuesday, a major show was shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just... I don't know if that's good or bad, really, but it's...
No, it's like you just have... I don't know. I think you just have to be careful now.
Yeah.
I mean, now you have to think, okay, what did I do in my past? Did I do anything? Did I say anything? Did I, you okay, Marty?
Yeah, I got my straw caught my hot dog there for a second. Yeah, that happens.
Okay. But no, now I bet people, especially the old-time A-listers, are thinking, what did I say at that party? Do I remember back, 10, 20, 30 years ago, that person, this person? They're thinking back, and it's like they could have said something inappropriate. They could have done something inappropriate, and it could come back to haunt them.
I wonder if we're going to start seeing proactive apologies. Like, just be like Robert Downey Jr. is like, guys, you knew me for like 30 plus years. I'm assuming I did a lot of bad stuff. So just in advance,
and I get there has to be something to be said for forgiveness too at some point. I don't know. Like, I don't know if we're going to shut down Kevin Spacey's career because I'm sure, like I said, more stuff is going to come out. But
I mean, Dan, are you the only one that has children in the group?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like Kevin Spacey, how do you feel about that? I mean, a 14-year-old boy, that has to be, it has to hit home.
Yeah. It's, what was the big Spacey? He was 26 at the time, I think. That puts him 26 and assaulting a 14-year-old boy. I mean, I saw in the chat and people were making comments too about Bryan Singer. The shoe's got to fall. I mean, that's such common knowledge of what he does and the parties and stuff that he does. It's worse than what we're talking about with Spacey here, right? We're talking about Spacey doing something really bad, and this is in a party situation where he's had too much to drink and yada yada yada. And there's an underage boy at this party for some reason.
Yeah, that's weird to begin with.
I'm sure
Spacey wasn't even the oldest one at that party. It might have been, he might have been the young boy there too.
So I mean, is one of those things like you don't know all the details of how that party came together. If it was like one of those Bryan Singer type situations where they're bringing in the young guys to be essentially preyed on at the party, so you don't know. But this stuff is well known about Singer, and if something doesn't happen soon about that, I'll be shocked. Like it's got to,
Let me see if he has anything coming out.
Yeah, probably not. He's not working on another X-Men movie, is he?
No.
Yeah, they're probably done with him with that. So yeah, I mean.
No, but Bryan Singer, didn't he direct Usual Suspects?
He did.
Oh,
Kevin Spacey was in that and got an Oscar. It's all connected.
It's all coming. Yeah, look at that. I pray that Benicio wasn't involved. No, Benicio. Don't take my Benicio away from me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
What other stuff you got for us, Marty?
Well, he does have. Singer was supposed to be doing the next X-Men movie, actually.
Well, funny.
Just producing, so he's only producing from now on, it seems.
Yeah.
And he's doing that Legion show.
Oh, he is. So he's still tied to X-Men somewhat.
Yeah.
Is that all news you got? You got anything else?
Another TV thing I thought you'd enjoy, that Walking Dead is experiencing its lowest ratings since season 2, which I think you predicted last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's gonna keep dropping.
Yeah,
Good
it
job.
came back. I think 2 weeks ago. I'm not hearing the buzz that you usually would hear.
Um, it's not a good show. I mean, it hasn't been, it hasn't been a good show for quite a few seasons. I only gave up watching it 2 seasons ago, and probably should have stopped watching it. Like, if you're gonna honestly ask me when I should have stopped watching it, it's probably season 3. Like, it was. If you really ask me, season 1, season 2, like could have stopped watching it. But I hung on for a while. It's yeah. There's the spin-off of it doesn't do really well anymore. I mean, they're
No.
still highly rated in the scheme of things, but I mean, um, they're gonna keep dropping, and there's so much on TV. The competition is so much out there that investing an hour in this show where it's the definition of Saw, only without the fun, right? It's predictable. It's the same story and plot lines. It's just not fun, and that's what The Walking Dead is. So
Oh,
That's
Kevin
how I feel
Spacey.
about Saul.
Yeah, Spacey's is starring in a movie coming out right in the middle of the award season, December 22nd, directed by Ridley Scott. All the money in the world.
Yeah, that's the Getty
Yeah.
movie I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see the trailer for that. It's Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Williams. They can't just throw that movie away.
maybe they'll CGI him out.
They'll hide him during the press. He won't be doing any press for it, but they're gonna have to answer all the questions.
Or they just reshoot it. They have Ron Howard reshoot his scenes.
They
Yeah.
did. I saw some today. They
saw
reshot almost
The
all
entire
of
Han Solo movie. Yeah, I saw that.
Really?
Yeah,
which is probably better.
probably. You didn't want to see Dumb and Dumber in space?
Oh my god, I would have vomited in the theater.
Oh.
That's it though. We got Thor coming next week.
Thor's
already
coming
made
next week. Yep.
Already 100 million overseas.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, we'll
without China. So
talk about that. So do an episode on Thor next week, right? And find someone else to join us with that. Real quick, I saw. Did you hear anything about American Made at all? It's the Tom Cruise movie. It came out a few weeks ago.
what about it?
It was really good. I actually saw it.
Did you see it?
I saw
Did you see it?
It was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did get good reviews, but it just again his movies are hit and miss with the box office.
Yeah. It's a fun movie. Definitely worth checking out when it gets on cable and stuff like that. It's
It's on the cocaine cowboy kind of.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. It's again like Tom Cruise used to be my favorite actor. Like
When was this?
I'm talking about
Top Gun.
Vanilla. No, I'm Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla Sky was, yeah.
Minority Report. War of the Worlds. Like I mean, Magnolia. Like the late '90s, early 2000s. Eyes Wide Shut. The late '90s, early 2000s. I was really into Tom Cruise, and then the Scientology stuff kind of really skyrocketed. And kind of like I can't really get behind this guy. That said, like every so often I'll catch one of his movies, and then this was one of them. Just happened to catch it. I didn't go to the theaters to see it. I saw it. Well, I can't disclose how I saw it. I was
why not?
I was
Why
at
not?
I was at a place. I was waiting at a place, and they had it on. And it sounds really cryptic. Marty probably knows.
What place is this?
I can talk about it in the spring, in the springtime. Springtime, I can talk about where I was at where I saw it. But let's just say I was in a place and I had to wait several hours, and so they were playing that movie, so I got to see it there. I don't know if it was a bootleg or if it was like a screener. Well, I guess a screener is kind of a bootleg or whatever. But
yeah, 'cause it's still in theaters.
Yeah. Really fun. It's a fun movie. It's a good performance. So American Made is good. You saw something else too, Marty? You said?
Yeah, so thank you for your service. I don't know if it's proper to do a review of that in this garb, but Miles Teller, starring as a soldier back from war during the Iraq War, really talks a lot about PTSD, the trauma that soldiers are going through. It's written by the same guy that wrote the American Sniper, and I like this movie a lot more, American Sniper, even though it won't do as much money, because it's a lot more of a realistic tale. I think American Sniper turned that Chris Kyle into like a superhero character, and it just took me out of the movie. But this one, it just kind of tells the story of 3 soldiers and what they have to do with it. Sadly, it's not a story we haven't seen before, but that's kind of the point, I believe. Deals with the guys trying to get. It's not overly political in its statements it makes, but it does make some statements about how the VA system works and how we treat these guys when they come back. And the title "Thank You for Your Service" kind of deals with that. It's like, how are we thanking these guys? Are we just standing up at the football game and giving a round of applause, or are we really going to try and get them some help and help them with the issues they deal with? So they won't do a lot of big money. Like Miles Teller is still not on that level where he can sell a movie on his own. But if you don't want to go see one of the blockbusters coming out or Thor or one of those, I would recommend it.
Speaking of, do either of you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I haven't got onto it this year. I don't know why. I think it just went away for too long.
Yeah.
I love it. The name of this past episode this past week was "Thank You for Your Service." Yes. So.
I did catch the end where there was like a funeral where a guy, and then Larry ruins a funeral.
That was the previous week. That was 2 weeks ago. This one that was just on Sunday is called "Thank You for Your Service," and you can imagine, there's a soldier and he shows up at an event and everyone is saying "Thank you for your service," and it gets to Larry and Larry's just, "Hi." So worth it.
Oh.
Talia, what do you have going on?
Yes.
What do you got going on out in LA? What's up with Talia right now?
Auditioning like crazy. Yeah, and trying to get new headshots. Yeah. So.
And feel free to use screen grabs from this. And
yes, just take screen grabs from this
yeah,
episode.
Yeah, with the face paint and everything. That's right. Very professional. Thanks.
Maybe you'll be in a Saw 12, right?
Saw 12 or any kind of mime work, maybe.
Why not? The dead clown girl. I don't care.
And I'll have Abe let Justin know that you're out in LA, and Justin.
Please do.
Justin will come seek you out. Right. You guys can talk about the definition of love, and figure out what love is. Last time he was on the show, we got into a debate about what love is, and so.
They're in a fucking superhero movie review of all things.
Well, I hope that he can finish his thesis argument when we talk about Justice League. I hope there's a lot of love in Justice League that we can.
No, I think there's gonna be a lot of flying and ass kicking and Metallica music in Justice League.
Right. Talia, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you again on soon. I hope you had a fun time. You're always in the chat. You kind of stumbled upon our show and you're always in the chat. Maybe we'll try to maybe we'll have Jack Random on or Justin on, some of your favorite people. Well, next time you're here, so you can hang out with them. With that, we'll close out another episode of the Movie Stuff Show. Please subscribe to this video. Please like this video. You can find other videos that Marty's posting over our faces and then all over the place. You can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at Movies and Stuff Show. We will be back next Tuesday live at 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's almost not EDT anymore, right? We're about to do that flip. We're about to go back.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go. We're
about to go to EST, forward. Right?
Fall back?
Yeah, I think I'm about to fall
next
back
week?
soon. Not next week. I think it's 2 weeks. It's coming up. It's coming up soon. So I won't be able to say EDT anymore. It'll be EST again. And but we'll be back 9 p.m. Eastern next week. Going to talk Thor 3. So thanks everyone and good night.